Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika Zen. I am Tamika. Okay. And we gonna talk Snowfall, y'all. Snowfall is back. Snowfall is back. All right. And Franklin done leveled up, all right. So this is season 5, episode 1, Comets. Okay. And we start out this episode basically with then bias, okay? This is an actual event that did happen. With Snowfall, they mix in facts with fiction. And we are also covering the uprising of the crack epidemic in the 1980s, right? And so with this story, Len Bias was supposed to play with the NBA with the Boston Celtics. And, we seeing him hanging out with his friends. He's sniffing, 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 sniffing. They like, whoa, take it easy. And he like, nah, I'm good. He talking about some giddy up and all this stuff. But then we see a change, right? Where he's like sweating. He's going opening the door like he needs some air. He's shaking it off or whatever have you. The voices is going in and out. And, you know, he's still saying he's good every time they ask him if he's okay, but we could see that he's not. And it gets to the point where he's hyperventilating. He's grabbing his chest. They say call 911. And Len Bias does end up dying. I believe it was like a heart attack or whatever the case may be, right? And after sniffing this coke. So you have that all over the news after that happens, right? And then we got, Franklin, like I said, he done leveled up, baby. Franklin is flying planes, all right. And he's on his way to see Grady, right? We see that he have two new women that are working with him that like are his drivers and picking him up and taking him to where he needs to go. And when he lands the plane, he's like, when y'all gonna let me take y'all up? And she's like, when you get some wings so that, you know what I'm saying, if the plane crash we not dying. I'm like, I know that's right. And so he asked them to excuse him for a minute, and he calls up Veronique, I think was her name, which this is his new boot thing, okay? And she's running things back at the office. We seeing that he has different developments. This was the type of stuff that his mother wanted him to get into from the beginning, right? But of course, he is still not fully legit, but he is getting some different legit businesses now, right? And he calls into the office and lets them know it's another property that he wants them to go ahead and check out. And then he's speaking to Veronique. I'm gonna just call her Verani, okay? And he's basically checking in with her, and she's saying that they have, something for Monday where they are going to be opening this development downtown. And he's like, okay, well, I need to stop in and check in with Grady, which Grady is now the new Teddy, okay? He done came in and took Teddy place. And so basically he's like, once he's finished with him, then he will come in and speak to her. And so she's like, okay, cool. So he gets over to Grady. Grady is having a big party, okay? He got the big house, the big pool, the big cars, all of that good stuff. And some chick is coming up to him talking about, did you bring the cocaine? And Grady is like, no, he's in real estate, okay? He was like, and who are you? He was like, this is Jesse, and what are you in? And she says something about that she is in the vice president of the Good Time Society. And then the girl that was with Franklin was more like vice president of the Uppity Bitch Society. I thought that was funny. But Franklin, wants to go in and talk business. And of course Grady is like, this guy is all business. And they was like, tell us about it, right? We know. And so when they get in there, Franklin tells him, he needs to buy 30 keys. And Grady is like, whoa, okay, your country and your countrymen, thank you. And so Franklin says, well, don't go, getting too happy, because Grady was saying he's making his country and his countrymen happy. And he's like, the game is changing. The southern border is opening. And, the product is flooding in, and the price of cocaine is actually dropping. He was like, I'm doing everything I can to stay competitive, okay? And so he was like, I was thinking that we need to go down to at least 1,000 a key. And of course Grady starts, adding up. He's like, okay, 1,000 a key times 300 is 300,000. 300,000 times 52 is what? He's like, you're a numbers guy. Come on and, round it off for me. And so Franklin says $15.5 million. Okay. And then at this point, our boy Gustavo comes in, and Grady is like, Gustavo, if Franklin was asking you for $15 million, what would you say? And Franklin says, I'm not, I'm just telling you how it is. And Grady is like, well, I'm just telling you that the company is on my ass, okay, and they are not going to be happy with this. This could bring problems. And Franklin basically says, well, this could bring problems to me and my people as well. And, Grady's like, well, I thought your people that worked with you was your family. And Franklin tells him, family, okay, nothing tears apart a family like money. Okay, real talk. All right, so just because they my family, that don't mean they don't want their damn money. All right, and so Grady is like asking Gustavo where's Zamara at, and he's like, she didn't come. And he was like, why not? He was like, no, because when she comes, she ends up wanting to stay here all night, and I ain't trying to do that. Okay, and so Grady essentially tells Gustavo and Franklin, like, damn, y'all two party poopers. Y'all the least partying, least happy partying drug dealers I have ever met in my life. He was like, come on, can we now go and have fun now that we got this talk out the way? And so we then see Jerome, right, and Miss Aunt Louie, okay? They on some horses. I'm like, all right now, I know that's right. Okay, they are looking good. And, she's saying that she really appreciates him coming out there with him. She like, do you even know your horse name? Do you remember his name? He like, yeah, this is Dusty. And so he lets her know that from now on, they can hang out there and she can ride him whenever she wants to, because he done bought both the horses, and he told them don't let nobody else touch it, okay? He just got to do the paperwork. So everybody seems to be living their best life right now, okay? What a difference a year makes, all right? And so basically, he's saying, are you going to show me that reverse cowgirl? And she was like, oh yeah, we could take it behind the stables. And so they really look like, they're in a good place. All right. We then have, Mr. Leon. Leon is holding things down at the fort. Okay. These guys come and get him. They walk in the office with this pipe or whatever. They looking at him. And come to find out, we had this young guy that was stealing from them to get daggone sneakers, okay? So, of course, Leon got to go and check him. He's like, why would you steal from us just to get some daggone sneakers? And the guy's telling him, we the ones that work the hardest, but we are not really making any money. I had to do what I had to do. You can't be mad at me for that or whatever. And Leon is breaking it down to him that the hardest hustlers usually make, the least amount of money. And Leon tells him to take off his sneakers. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. You never gonna hear about this again, Leon. Leon said, I know I'm not. He took that daggone pipe and beat that foot to a daggone pope, y'all, okay? Broke up his foot, okay? Broke up his foot, all right, real quick. And, he was laying on the floor like, oh, my foot, my foot, my foot. So we see Leon ain't lost it, okay? Leon is back in full swing, literally. All right? And so we then get, Rob and these kids partying, right? They partying, they sniffing coke. And Rob has a friend named Thad. And for whatever reason, Thad decided that he was going to be like, well, because some guy came and was talking with the girls and he started sniffing the coke too. And Thad was like, well, who do you think you are? How you just coming up in here and sniffing on our stuff? And so the boy had said to him, well, this is my friend's party. I seen the stuff here. I thought it was just cool and I could just, have some. And he was like, oh, you thought it was just cool. You thought it was just cool. You thought you just could come up in here and sniff our stuff. So it's not even funny, but he ends up pulling out a daggone gun, and at first his friend is telling him to put the gun down. He's like, where did you even get a gun? He's like, calm down. Rob is telling him this. He's like, calm down. Why the hell do you have a gun? What the hell did you bring a gun in here for? he was like, put it down, it's okay. And so he's thinking that he calms him down and that he's putting the gun down and it's all over with. And he goes back and sits down, and the boy that he was pointing the gun at, he calms down and he actually giggles. And the next thing you know, Dad picks that daggone guns right back up and shoots him 2 damn times, y'all, in the chest. Okay. And so at this point, everybody goes running out screaming. And Rob is telling Thad to get his behind out of there. And I'm just like, oh Lord, y'all done really went from bad to worse with this, right? It's like things was going too good and y'all just had to mess it up. And so when Franklin wakes up, he's reading in the paper about, Lynn Bias, right? And the fact that he died. And then he's going and like working out. We seeing that Franklin trying to box now. Franklin flying now. I'm like, I ain't mad at it. Get it, Franklin. And so in the middle of him, working out, he's hearing a news report about that and the shooting. And he like, y'all have got to be freaking kidding me. Okay. And so, Veronique is talking to him at this point in the office, and he's kind of zoning in and out. It's like he's listening to her, but he's thinking about this other stuff too. And she's telling him, the more money they have, the better, right? It would be better for them to be less dependent on loans, and asked if he's worried about coming up with that number. And then that's when he kind of zoned back in and was like, nah, that's not a problem. And he says it might even be good to bring Jerome and Louie into it too, that he wants to talk to them. And so, you have Grady coming out by his pool, like, oh Lord, looking around, seeing what a mess they made and left over from the party. And we see somebody that for a minute, I'm like, wait a minute, this face is looking familiar to me, right? We have somebody come up and say that they are from LWP. I guess that's some type of, electrical company that they have out there. And he's so cool saying he got to check the box. And when I look real good, I'm like, wait a minute, this is Teddy Raggedy behind, okay? I recognize you even with the glasses and the wig on. Like, what's really good? And so he's saying that he's there, to check everything with the electricity, and that he was actually supposed to come yesterday. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry I missed it, because it looked like y'all had a nice party here. And then Grady's like, wait a minute, y'all working on Sundays now? And he's like, yeah, you could call and put in a word and, complain for me and this and that. And so he's like, okay, yeah, I'm done. That was it and ready to go. And Grady knows and feels like it's something up with him too, because he actually asked to double check his ID and looks, for the number off of it just in case he does decide to call. And then Teddy gonna talk about, oh yeah, if you do, man, put in a complaint that they got me coming in here working on Sundays. And Grady was like, will do. And he basically was giving him the side eye. Okay. And so, you have Peaches with Franklin, and they go to check in on Rob and see what the heck is going on. When they go in there, they got everything covered up as far as like all the windows and stuff with sheets going all around. They still look like they've been in there getting highs. I don't know what is these girls in there or whatever. And Rob is like, oh, thank God you're here. And they asking him, have he heard from Thad? And he's like, nah, he haven't heard anything from him. All he knows is that he told him he has somewhere to go, but he didn't tell him where the place was, because he didn't want him to be able to tell the police if the police came and asked him. And Franklin basically tells him, it's time for your damn friends to go. All right, I think you better tell your friends to go home. And so, Franklin is just over it, and he's trying to figure out how the heck he's supposed to fix this situation now. And so you had the cops doing a raid at somebody's house, right? But it doesn't look like they found anything. It looked like they found like one little bag or something. So the cop is pissed off about that. They don't look like they done beat the heck out of the damn boy. His mama coming home like, what is going on here? And, asking for their information and saying, how y'all just come into my house like that. And the cop basically told her to shut the hell up, all right? And she was like, no, I want your badge number and information too. And then they grabbing her all up, and he get in the car pissed because whatever info he got wasn't good info, obviously, because they didn't find anything. And so we actually have Franklin bringing Rob back to his house, right? Even though he's moved on and got his new place and all this different stuff, he has actually held on to his mother's house. And so they're reminiscing a little bit where Rob is like, yeah, I remember when I used to come here and, it would smell funny. And Franklin is like, boy, that was fool, okay? Your house smelled like ass, all right? And they going back and forth. But Franklin tells him the minute you hear from Thad, you get in touch with me. He's telling him that they got to go ahead and take care of this and that he's going to put Rob into a facility, you know, and do whatever it takes to get him clean and get him together. And at first he's like, yeah, okay. And Franklin slaps the mess out of him, okay? Slaps fire out of him like, no, I'm serious, okay? I mean this. You're going to get it together, right? And he's like, yeah. And so he's also asking him, what did you tell him? How much does he know? Oh, he doesn't know anything, and I would never do anything to hurt you or anybody else. This is on me, right? So he says that Dad supposedly doesn't know nothing, and Franklin is like, okay, get some sleep. I will be back. All right, and so he go ahead and leave. And so, we see Franklin put in Jerome, Lou, and Leon up to speed with everything, right? They telling him about the Rob and Thad situation. They telling him, he's giving them an update with the conversation that he had with Grady in reference to the money and all of that. And he's like, I gotta get that part situated with Rob and Thad first before I can even move on to the part with Grady and the money. And so they're like, okay. We also see Wanda doing her thing now, okay? Wanda is still clean. All right, go girl, go girl, go girl. And she is working as a sex operator, okay? But these people that's calling talking about they want their balls stomped and they dick kicked. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on here? They asking for all kind of weird stuff. And basically you could tell that she's just annoyed and but still trying to do what she gotta do. The boys talking about, oh, you getting them off the phone too quick. The faster the longer you leave them on the phone, that's where the money comes in. And she's like, I'm trying my best, but when they call, they are ready to blow, okay? No pun intended. And so we then see Wanda on her way home, and when she gets in from work, we finding out that actually Wanda has been living at Franklin's house, okay? And he didn't even bother to call her. I guess he forgot to let her know that Rob and them is there. So she come in like, what the heck is going on here? What is happening? And Peaches is like, oh, Franklin didn't call you. She's like, no, he didn't call me. He was like, well, I need you to stay here and hold it down and watch him while I go or whatever the case may be. She like, well, what I'm supposed to do with him? He like, I don't know, but you were once him. So, you know what I'm saying? You should be able to handle it. And so you do have her go in the room and check on him and stuff like that and tell him to hang in there that, he'll be okay. And so, Lou is there with Jerome. Like I said, they vibe is just in a whole different place. They got a little setup of their own, little club going on or whatever. And she in the back room with Jerome, hugging and kissing all over him and telling him he better be naked when she get back in there, because the girl comes and knocks at the door and was like, okay, he's here. I got him in the VIP section waiting on you. And she's like, okay, cool. And so she tells Jerome she's going to be back. She's about to step out for a minute. And he's like, do you need me to come with you? She's like, nah, I think I got this. When I get back, though, you better be naked and ready for me. And he like, yes, ma'am. And so when she get out there, we see that is the raggedy cop that was doing the raid, okay, that told the mama that she needs to get her ass up out of here. And so we also see that he's doing drugs in between. He's having drinks at the bar and he's sniffing up on some coke. And he's telling Lou about how, they've been coming down on them on arrest, right? They need to meet these certain quotas. And all his bosses, are just like looking and saying, where's the people? We need the people being brought in. Ever since what happened with Lynn Bias. And so she's like, okay, well, what do you want from me? And he's like, well, basically, I need you to give me something that I could give to my bosses. And of course, Louis is telling him she ain't no snitch. And he's like, well, it ain't about you being a snitch or whatever. If you want me to continue helping you, you have to continue to help me, right? One hand washes the other, and this is what I need. And so then he says she could go ahead and send him one of the girls over, right? And then we have Franklin picks up Rob, right? Now at this point, they done find what Dad is at. He's telling him to call Dad so they can get him out the way, right? And they are on their way riding there to get him. And so Rob, as they're riding, asks for the gun so that he could get used to it. And at one point, they pull over so that they could go ahead and take the gun out the trunk. Franklin is saying he gotta pee anyway. Rob starts talking about Comets, which is, episode called Comet, right? And what direction it would come in and how often it comes and all of that different kind of stuff. And so they even say, they'll give him a little hit so that he could be calmed down and take the edge off or whatever the case may be. And so, excuse me, when they get there to daggone crazy Dad, he's sitting here twirling around fire sticks like he part of the damn Circus Olay or something. And he's like, oh, y'all scared me. I've been waiting on y'all. I didn't know y'all was going to get here. Then he gets nervous at seeing Peaches and not knowing who he is. And he done pulled out a damn, shotgun ready to shoot them up. And they have to calm him down and get him to put the gun down. And he's like, well, I just want to get packed up and get the hell up out of here. And Franklin's like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Go ahead and do that. So as he goes in the house and starts packing up his stuff, here he go, boy, talking about hopefully your guy from the CIA can help me and probably give me some new IDs or something like that. So now Franklin is looking at Rob because, of course, Rob said he did not say anything, okay? That was the first damn mistake. He did tell him something, so who knows who else, this guy Dad could have mentioned it to. And so, of course, Rob has to finish him. At first when he shoots him, he just shot him in the arm or something like that. And then he was telling Franklin he can't do it. And Franklin was just looking at him like... And so then he goes over to him. Of course, Dad is begging for his life. But Rob has to put him out his misery, okay, and take him out. And he does. And so, then they basically were getting rid of Dad's body. And, you still had freaking Rob sitting here sucking on a damn glass pipe. He done spilled the damn beans. So we already knew what direction this was going in. And he's saying, oh, I think I see the comment there. And, Franklin is like, where? And when he goes to point to where he saw it at, Franklin basically shoots him in the back of the head. And Peaches even looked like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? He didn't know that was a part of the plan. He thought they was going to be putting him in rehab. But at this point, it had passed, past the point of no return, basically, right? And so you did have, like, Franklin, we find out that he's having a baby, all right? He about to be a poppy, okay? And so you had him, like, thinking and then flashing back and forth to the conversation that him and his, baby, soon to be baby mama had, and the fact that he promised her that he would do everything to keep her safe. You seeing him say that she didn't bust her behind in all these years of law school to be a housewife, and that he's gonna be legit and he's gonna run this business with her, right? Ain't that what they all say? And so she's saying that she knows that that's supposed to happen eventually, but she also is not stupid. She knows that it's not happening right now. And that what she needs him to do is that in the meantime, while he is here, doing everything he can to make sure her, this baby, his family, him, all of them are straight. And so that is basically the goal. He says he promises that is exactly what he is going to do, y'all. And so we shall see. That's how they started it off. I don't know, y'all. I'm sure he's going to try his best. But I don't know if it's going to work the way that he thinks it is. But how did y'all like this first episode, y'all? Was you feeling the vibe? Are you liking the direction that it's going in so far? Were you surprised that he killed Rob? Or were you surprised that it took that long, Do you like the way that it's going with Louie and Jerome and... seeing Leon again and seeing that he's back into his flow? Do you like seeing Wanda and her being clean? Do we think she gonna stay clean? Let's discuss. Put it all in the comments, okay? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Till next time, toodaloo.